Hello, welcome to your post-match pint here on WD18, brought to you by the Mad Squirrel. In the Mad Squirrel, it's finished Watford 5-5. Incredible. And I'm joined by amazing guests, Alex King, Sam Ucko. Alex, this is not your WD18 debut, is it?
Well, I think kind of semi-live. I've done a couple of TikToks before. Basically,
Sunderland away, wasn't it?
Sunderland away, and then the 2-0 against Birmingham City. But no, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you ever so much for having me.
And we have to say a shout out to Kingy's shirt. I mean, what player are we thinking of when we see that, Sam? I'm thinking Ashley Young probably.
Ashley Young's the first one, just a really baggy look to it as well. Jay Demerit played in that shirt as well, didn't he?
JJ from the USA is definitely a good shout as well. We're here at the Mad Squirrel to review today's game. Watford 5, Rotherham 0. Melita Rajovic with 2 goals. Kiembe, Tom Ince, there was one more, Matthias Martins, there were so many. Sam, just first off, mate, your initial thoughts coming out of Vicarage Road. Was that Watford being good, or was that Rotherham being bad?
First of all, it's always a good sign when you're losing track of who the goal scorers are, like you were just now. I think obviously as good as Watford were, you can't score 5 goals without playing well, obviously. But I think you also do have to take into context that Rotherham were really, really poor today, really poor side. But at the same time, you can only beat what's in front of you. I did think in the first half we could have done a bit better, but second half we really took it up a notch. I think Val really set the tone with that, with his substitutions, which were really attacking. Delighted with it. A huge improvement on what we saw last week at Huddersfield. I just hope that we can have that a bit more consistently. I know it's unrealistic to expect to win 5-0 every week, but just delighted that we did get that win.
Kingy, the thing is in the first half, we'll take it back to the first half, Ishmael made a couple of changes to the team, and Rajovic, who's gone on to score 2 goals today, was the man starting up front. What did you make of his overall performance? Because it felt like we're finally getting the balls into him, and he was delivering.
Well, I said it to Sam and Charlie. It's amazing what you do when you actually cross to a centre forward. Like, they might actually score a goal. And we seem to have figured that out finally, and I'm really happy for him. It was great from Ken Sema, 2 wonderful assists again, and that's where you want Rajovic. You want him on the 6-yard box, ready to tap it in. That's what he's good at. There's no point trying to play direct to him, kick the ball up to him. He's not going to win headers. I don't think he's the most physical striker, but you get it out wide and you cross it in, and he's going to score goals.
Well, this is the thing we were just saying about with Rajovic. It's felt like finally we were actually giving him the service that we all thought we were going to give him when he came here. There was a lot of talk when Charlie spoke to a journalist who had watched a lot of Rajovic. He said he's a box striker. You give him the service and he will score you goals. And that's now 5 for the season for Melita. Is he now the go-to? Do you think? I think the thing Charlie asked me was, do you think Bayer would have scored those when you look at the other options?
Yeah, I think it has to. I think Rajovic's movement was brilliant, particularly even before he scored that goal. He had a really good chance from a header as well, from a great run to the back post. I've always liked his movement. It's just a case of getting that service to him. And I put a tweet out saying, give the ball to Ken, he'll get assists from wide areas. Give it to Rajovic in the box. There's that quote, score it, the box is my office, or something like that.
That is the best definition of box office, by the way.
Exactly, and look, give him the ball, he will score goals. And I think that's what we did see. I still think as well we could be even more direct to him, and we could still get the ball into him a bit more quicker. But really happy for him, because that was really well deserved. I don't think he's had it easy over the last few weeks either. Hasn't really been playing as much as probably he would have wanted to. Does he start over Bayo? On the basis of today, you'd probably have to say yes, but I think it also depends on the opponent.
Is he the go-to now up front?
I don't know.
Or does it depend on the fixture? Does it depend on the opponent?
It depends on the fixture. I think if you're playing a high-quality opposition, I feel like you need Bayo in there for the versatility and sort of the movement and the pressing that he does. I think that's crucial. But when, with a great respect to with Rotherham, you're not playing the best quality opposition, I think that's when you can start a Rajovic. Because we're going to be on top more, but I still like Bayer just for that fact that he has kind of got that energy and that kind of relentless pressing nature, and he can cause the odd mistake, and I think that's crucial when you play a better opposition. It'd be interesting to see against Leicester if you, I don't quote-unquote drop Rajovic, but you put Rajovic on the bench after scoring 2 in favour of Bayer, because we're not going to be on top for as much as we were today.
Sam, I wanted to touch on just that first half before we got in the second half where Watford scored 3 goals. It was probably the 2 times where we did actually beat the man on the outside and get a ball in. I can't remember there being another time. I got a little bit frustrated the fact that Jamal Lewis and Ken were there were a lot of opportunities to cross and we weren't doing it. Do you think that Ishmael, that's something that Ishmael will now look at and go, you know what, that's our tactic. We've just got to force feed Rajovic with crosses, because that was actually the only 2 times the first time we did it.
100%, it's the way forward, and like I say, we're going to score goals like that. Give the ball to Ken, he'll get the ball in the box. Give it to Rajovic, and hopefully he'll score goals in the box. I think that first half was a weird one, considering we were 2-0 up, so I don't want to sound too negative. But
In what way was it weird?
I didn't think we were great, if I'm being honest with you. I think we scored one right at the start in the first 5-10 minutes, then one right at the end. But in that 40 minutes or so in between, I thought we were really poor. I think we lacked urgency. We failed to kick on. I think we let the game drift a bit from us. And I think that's credit to Val for the second half, which was completely different, where we looked on the front foot. I think we're happy that we won 5-0. I think ultimately, if we were at it and didn't let the game drift in the first half, it would have been a lot more. And I think that's somewhere that perhaps we need to address, because it's too early to start talking about goal difference, but it's a huge statement winning 5-0.
Plus 5 goal difference.
Sam, are you
End of the season.
Sam, are you saying that we're going up?
I feel like I'm sounding like a half glass empty sort of person. 5-0 is a huge statement.
No.
We could have made it even bigger, I think.
I think I just wanted to bring Kingy in there, because I do agree with Sam. I felt like we did what we had to do.
Yeah.
It was enough to win the game comfortably, really. I think we have to caveat this with Rotherham aren't a good side. They're 21st in the league. They had a bit of a sickness bug in the squad. They made a lot of changes. But we got the job done. I guess that's all we needed to do, really, Kingy. Is that fair? Or are you kind of looking at Sam thinking we still weren't hitting the top gears of our performances or so far?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, how many times are we going to beat someone 5-0, or even 5-0 full stop this season? Oh, no,
I'm happy, yeah. I think it could be better.
No, I think I can agree with that. I mean, I was at times finding myself, I don't know if we'll get onto individual performances later, but with Porteous, for example, I was getting a bit annoyed. But then you've got to look at it and go, well, we are actually 4-0 up, so can I actually really be that annoyed? But like I say, I think what you've said true. If you think about the first half in QPR, we were 4-0 up and we didn't hit another gear, and potentially you could argue today we've won 5-0, and I don't think we've really hit top gear, really. But you've got to beat what's in front of you, and we've done that, and we've done it convincingly.
Just expand on Porteous. What frustrated you? Because there were times where there was some niggly fouls and some stupid maybe fouls on John Ucko. He wanted the battle against him today, but you liken him to Ryan Reynolds, I've heard.
I've got a full story over this.
Right, so I've got to caveat this really quickly. So last season, obviously, Hamza Chowdhury came in. And whilst I liked Chowdhury, and hopefully he's not watching this, or if he is, you are. But
welcome to the channel.
Yeah, but at times I felt he was rather dramatic at times, Hamza Chowdhury. So I conned him Hollywood Hamza for that dramatic nature. And if you saw the game against Leeds last Friday night, he got nudged by, I think it was Somerville, or I can't think who it was, and he went down like he'd been shot. So case point and proof. But with Porteous at times, I felt like he's rather aggressive. And sort of in the first half, there was something where the ball was in the 6-yard box, and instead of just sort of leaving it for Hamer, he sort of just kind of went out like this. So I've said Ryan Reynolds because I thought it was a bit actory at times, but yeah, Ryan Reynolds Porteous. But if you are watching Porto and I ever do see you, I love you lots, all right? And this means nothing.
I have to say, I wanted to shout out Wesley Hoot, actually, who I thought, again, was pretty solid at the back with Porto. We move on to the second half. Watford scored 3. And Sam, you mentioned how Watford stepped up in the second half. What was it about the performance that stepped up in terms of, the certain aspects?
I think Val definitely said to them at half-time, like, look, they're there for the beating, and we can really score a few in this second half. And I think that really, I don't think Val would have been happy with the first half, to be honest with you, like I said. And I think he would have really gone in on them and said that we're a good team and we can show them that. And we did do that. I think what really set the tone is that those subs on 65, 70 minutes where he took off, for example, Lewis and brought on Martins for him, and Tom Ince and Chat for Tatse, to really show that we can bring the ball forward and up the tempo of the game, even though the game was probably done at that point at 3 or 4-0. So I'm really happy with the second half. I think Val will be delighted with the second half, and the intensity was fantastic. And I just hope that we see a bit more of that, almost letting off the handbrake and being a bit less cautious. I'm not sure if that's the best way of putting it. But
do you know what? I noticed that after the first goal, that we kind of like, went into cruise control, but I think we had a lot of the ball, we were in control of it, and as you say, we maybe just dropped a little bit off, and Rotherham got a few throw-ins, they got a few set pieces, and that was where they were going to look to hit us. But that second half, Kingy, it did feel like we did step it up in terms of the intensity on and off the ball. And one man I wanted to talk about is Edo Kayembe. And before we even talk about Edo and his performance, this is WDAT, this is your Watford X Factor, and each of us have got an Edo Kayembe chart that we want to deliver today. So Sam's going to start us off here.
I'll take the mic.
Yeah,
so, wow. I want to dance with Kayembe. I want to win the league with Kayembe. Yeah, I want to dance with Kayembe. And Tom Deli Bashiru. Charlie's shaking his head there. He is not happy with that.
One man we wanted to talk about is Edu. And for me, you know, Rajovic, Ken will probably get the headlines this evening in the Watford Observer or, you know, on other news platforms. Edo Kayembe was, for me, the man who actually stood out the most. He's probably, I might go as far as say man of the match, actually. Got a goal in the second half, a lovely few flicks around the corner the second half as well. Is this the redemption arc beginning?
Well, I thought the beginning of the redemption arc was Luton 4-0 at home last year, but I think he's found a really, really nice role. That kind of box-to-box midfielder. I think that's something we've missed. I'm really, you know, it's always great to see first go in front of the rookery for Watford, but I think he is one of those players where I think he's part of our best team. He might be a bit left foot Larry, as I know some people call him, but I just think, you know, that defensive aspect and then going forward, that I think he's starting to improve, which is great to see. I think he's really, really important to how we maybe want to go forward. And I think we mentioned this, and we need to caveat this. It's only one game, and after the 4-0 against QPR, we all thought we were going to win the league. So, but that midfield three of Livermore, that kind of defensive rock, that Kayembe box-to-box, and then a Kone or a loser, that kind of more attacking out there, I think it's a really, really nice balance in the midfield.
Interesting, actually, just on loser. Val had a lot of options and he didn't bring him on. Is that a player that we could see moving on in January?
I could see it. I think Udinese on loan to the end of the season I could just see it, to be honest with you.
Well, they might be banning that based off the Newcastle. I mean, that Newcastle room never spin. But they might be banning that, so it will actually probably be a free transfer. So
incredible. So
I could see that, but to be fair, I'm not Imran Loser's biggest fan, as I've made quite clear on the channel before, and there's no coincidence. I genuinely think this. We're now 6 games unbeaten. I don't think Loser started any of those 6 games. I think we look like the better team. We look more balanced without him in there. I don't think he gets involved in games enough. I don't think he's physical enough for the Championship. I think he's a brilliant player technically, and on his day could be one of the best players in this division, but I think probably in January, if we get the right price, it'll probably be the right time to move him on.
We mentioned Kayembe there, Sam. I just wanted to touch on some other players that stood out or didn't stand out. Were there anyone that you wanted to give a particular mention to?
Ben Hamer. I think it's really difficult for a goalkeeper to come in after a long stint out. We obviously saw it with Hamer last season, came in for the Coventry game and made a big mistake when we drew 2-2 against them. But came in today and I thought he didn't have much to do, in all fairness, but he looked really composed in terms of his kicking, his distribution. Everyone looked a lot more comfortable with him in goal. I'm not sure if either of you picked up on that, but I thought his distribution was really, really good today, arguably better than Batman. Came out of his goal and was almost like a sweeper keeper at times. Made a save, which was, I don't want to say for the cameras, I hate that phrase, but might be a bit disappointed that he wasn't able to...
Which one are we talking about?
The first half, the free kick.
So I'm gonna protect Ben Hamer here and say that there was a little bit of movement throughout the ball. And I mean, when Cafu was standing over it like prime Ronaldo.
I think as a goalkeeper, when you're out for a long time, you want to be better safe than sorry. So
no chances taken. No chances.
I think Hamer was great, but the other person I wanted to shout out was Jake Livermore, because I was a bit apprehensive when we signed him, but I think he's been a breath of fresh air since he came into the team. I think he looks composed. I think he's shown his experience. I think he's helping players around him. And I think he's proving to be a really important player in this Watford side. Obviously, in the long term, it's not ideal to have a player of his age in there, but I think for the here and now, what we need, I think he's been brilliant, to be honest.
And it's interesting, a lot of the Watford players, when they say, who do you think will be a manager after they finish playing, Jake Livermore was the name that popped up quite a bit. I know you're a massive fan, Alex.
I mean...
That was interesting. Sia Rouse was the other show.
I literally just about to say that when they on the video they said Cisco, and I was like, he's gone, lads. But anyway, I think what Jake Livermore brings, he brings that real calm in nature. I think we haven't maybe mention that about Hamer. Obviously, the thing about Hamer being in goal today was that we had an outfield captain. There's a lot of things said on socials about having an outfield captain.
Are you an outfield captain sort of guy?
Oh, what a question to ask. Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, yeah, give it to the big English CM in the middle of the park, or the big
Livermore to the end of the season.
Yeah. But no, I think he's really good. I think he brings a real calming presence that I think we've lacked at times. If we're a bit hot-headed, do you remember at Sunderland away when red cards, yellow cards galore? I don't know. I'll now say Livermore was probably playing in that game, but I don't think he was. I can't remember it. But I feel like he brings that real calm and nature, which I think's really, really important, and it's something you actually need at this level.
Yeah, for sure. Where does this leave Watford now? Just looking ahead, we've kind of looked at I think our overall judgment, if we're saying is, lads, that Watford probably could have played a couple of gears up in the first half. There was a step up in the second half. Rotherham aren't great. It now leaves us 6 points off 6th and 10 points off the relegation zone. So we are kind of slap bang in the middle of the Championship table at the moment. Key's laughing. What?
It is very funny that one week I look at the table and go, oh, actually only 10 points off relegation. And you win today and it's like, well, actually, we're only 6 off the playoffs now.
It's like a massive collapse. Yeah, it's weird. That's the way you look at it now. But Sam, where do you see... I always ask you, where do you see Watford now?
Well, yeah.
After this, a 5-0 win at home to Rotherham, are we coming up? No.
Yeah, I see Dave Walker behind the camera here, Mr. Football Cliches, and I'll just say this.
We have got a live audience today of Charlie and Dave Walker.
Whisper it quietly, but Watford are going up.
If you haven't, you got to explain it.
Now I'm beating out the lamp, I'm going no, but seriously.
I'll do your but seriously. Let's go and do this at Leicester in 2 weeks. And then I think you can start having a conversation about, well, if we can, we've got a very tricky period coming.
If we go to Leicester and get something, you saying we're in the playoff mix?
Well, we've got Leicester coming up, then we've got Norwich, Ipswich are thrown in there, Southampton at the start of December, and Hull away, obviously. I think if you go through those 5 or 6, and then you think, oh, we're only 4 or 5 off the playoffs, with a bit of an easier run, then we can start having that conversation. But I think we just got to back this performance up. How many Watford teams have we... What was it? When we beat Luton 4-0 last year. That was Kayembe was incredible in that game.
He was, wasn't he?
And we went, oh, we're back now. We are back. And then it fell apart after that, didn't it? I think, did we get a Millwall? Oh, no, it was Millwall before, but we then went to Bristol City and drew 0-0. The World Cup happened, then the wheels fell off.
Do you know what? Just to jump in there, I'm going to get Watford's form up from the last few games. But basically, I don't know if you guys remembered after the last post-match pint, we basically did a sort of predictions for the next 5 games at Watford. And if we look at our form at the moment, so we beat Sheffield Wednesday, we beat Swansea, we drew to Millwall, we drew to Huddersfield, and we've just beaten Rotherham. So that is, if my maths serves me correct, that is 11 points out of the last 5. I think that's correct. That was really quick mental maths there. But Sam, what did we predict? What did you predict out of the 5 games? Because we've got 11.
I think I said 6, to be honest with you. 6. But to be fair, I'll happily eat humble pie from this point. I think first of all, it has to be said that going into the games in terms of context, I didn't have much hope going into it based on what I'd seen. But also, other than today, I don't want to be negative. We just won 5-0. But in the other 5 games, have we played that well? I think we have to ask that question. I think this Watford team could still play a lot better than we are.
Do you know what? I just want to jump in there. What do you define as well, though? Because it feels like Val's style now has been a bit more pragmatic. We've mentioned this. It's a different team to the ones we saw at the start of the season, and it felt that Leeds away defeat, he's really changed the way we played from that moment onwards. So when you say a Watford team playing well, what would you want to see from that?
I mean, it's such a difficult question. I think score a goal would be quite a good one. I think the Huddersfield last week. I just think...
Because that was bad last week. We have to be honest. Huddersfield, it was a bad...
Yeah. I mean, I didn't go, but my uncle sent me like 5 or 6 words, and it basically, he said, just don't bother watching the highlights. That was it. I think when you mean play well, as me playing well, I think it goes beyond effort. I think you need to see a real quality on the pitch, if that makes sense, and I think we've lacked that at times. I think people were saying at the start of this year, oh, we're actually putting in the effort. I think effort only gets you so far. You can have all the effort in the world, but if you haven't got the ability or the quality, it's completely pointless. But at times we've had the quality, but not the effort. So I think it's just that mixture of quality, of effort even, but also that added quality.
Looking ahead, Sam, next up, is a trip after the international break. It's another international break, but it's a trip to the King Power, then Norwich at home, Hull away. We will do more in depth towards those times, but are you going into it a little bit more of a spring in your step at the King Power in a couple of weeks? Does this? The silence was loud.
Yeah, it's a tough game. Anyone going to Leicester? I think they lost again today, actually, to be fair. But yeah, 1-0 to Middlesbrough. So it's going to be a really tough game. If we play the levels that we did in the second half today, I'll be confident. Lovely bit of music in the background as well. It's the mood.
Another Kayembe chart coming out.
But it's a really tough run of games coming up. It was a favourable run just now, and I do wish that we took a few more points out of that winning away at Huddersfield. But look, we're celebrating a 5-0 win here today.
What a pleasure.
Let's worry about after the international break, and enjoying this lovely sumo beer as well here. So,
final thoughts, mate. Is that your weekend sorted now?
What?
Anything else planned?
Do you know what, right? It's completely off topic, but I've actually bought a recent set of DJ decks. Have you? So, yeah.
So is that you saying that at half-time when Darude Sandstorm comes on, you're going to be doing a remix?
Yeah. Remix a Darude Sandstorm with Dua Lipa or something. I don't know.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Predictions for Leicester? Is it too early to say that?
You've got to go through the international break. I get to watch, hopefully, Jude Bellingham play football next week, which should be great fun. If I'm honest, I think Leicester might turn us over, but then I've now said it, but we get Norwich after that, and we always seem to beat Norwich.
We've got a good record, haven't we?
Yeah, so we'll actually probably end up losing now. But I think the last 5, I disagree with you. We've got 11 from 15 in the last 5. I don't think that's terrible, but let's see over the next...
Better.
I think let's see over the next 5. If we get over the next 5, what do you reckon? 6? We're playing quite a good quality side. If we get 6 points over the next 5 games, I don't think that's a bad return, and then we can look into the new year.
Okay, just to wrap up today, we've had Kingy's thoughts. It's been an Edo Kayembe-like performance from the man himself. Sam, just your final word on today?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I thought the club were brilliant with the way they commemorated our Mistress Day today. Abide with me, the last post before kick-off, the minute silence, which was brilliant before the game. Really special moment, I'm sure, for all the veterans and everyone associated with the football club, and for Rotherham as well. So, yeah, really happy with that special moment, and I thought the club handled it brilliantly.
Massive shout out to the club. Lovely touch before the game and at half-time as well. But thank you so much for watching today's post-match pint. We really do appreciate it. Make sure you come down into the Mad Scorer. Hopefully the music's not be too loud. But as you can see, we've got a new mural behind us, which it's got some nice touches on, actually. I think there's a shout out to Elton. There's actually a WD18 shout out. I don't think we can see it on the camera. WD18 Vicarage Road. But a massive shout out to Mad Squirrel. Thank you very much to those guys for getting involved with us this season. Make sure, if you did enjoy the post-match pints, leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, subscribe. Make sure you check out Sam and Kingy on socials. The guys, what a man. Sammy, what a man. Take care, guys, and up the Onyx. Yes.